12 of the best sim racing has to offer in equally prepared cars. Historic Sim Racing Organization presents Round 2 of the 1975 IROC series at Riverside. I am Jason White. I will be your commentator, and I'm joined as always by Richard Wilkes. Richard, good evening.
Good evening,
Jason.
Sim Racing has to offer
in equally prepared cars. Goodness.
Historic Sim Racing Organization.
We have multiple things going. Hang on
Round
1 second.
2 of the 1975 IROC series at Riverside.
There we go. All right. Welcome, everyone, to round 2. Sorry about that. This is the first of 2 road course races for this series. And I think it's going to be an interesting situation because several of these drivers did really well in the Trans Am series we ran last year. So you would think that they would have a better shot here than they had on an oval where they may not be as familiar with the driving style. What do you think, Richard?
I think so indeed. Of course, HSO being a mainly European league, the drivers are more familiar with road courses and the peculiar aspects of oval racing. And like you said, some of these drivers are very familiar with Trans Am styled cars. I could name Yves Placé or Steve Parker, for example.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they would be doing a lot better here. Although, to be fair, Steve was actually very good at Michigan last time.
That's true. Well, Steve's done good on ovals before. Oh, goodness. Well, hopefully that's something we won't see too much of in the race itself. Cars that are going to be hitting the half tires and the S's. Okay, we are proceeding now to the race session. All 12 cars are here. We have one driver that is absent this time, and that's Greg Goissin. He couldn't be here, so we have Gerard Rion standing in for him, starting in his grid slot, which in this race is going to be third. So the cars are now moving to the track. And this is going to be a rolling start, just like the previous race. Cars lining up.
Might save us a bit of grief here, being a rolling start.
Yes.
Now, of course, this is on the Riverside circuit, a very peculiar one because it's the club one. So
yes.
It has almost a jump, I should say, when they move from one part of the highway to another. And it's a track that, although simple, might pose some problems with these, well, not probably the pure thoroughbred of race cars. The drivers are having to go through the fast S's very gingerly because it seems that these Camaros want to get away from them.
Yes, the cars are very squirrely. Let's take a look at the starting grid right now for round 2 of the International Race of Champions. Row 1, Ben Paulett, because he finished last in round 1, is starting on the pole this time, and alongside is Ole Marius Mervold from Norway. Row 2, Gerard Rion, filling in, as I said, for Greg Goissin and Vincent Beretta. Row 3, Philippe Martinelli and Richard Coxon. What's going on?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jason, but it seems there's a bit of drama here.
Oh, goodness.
Someone was braking, and there's people with damage already.
Goodness.
So I don't know.
All right, well, in that case, we will have to restart the race. That's not a problem. We want to make sure that everybody has a good shot, so we will hit the restart button.
Although we must warn that due to recent events, the drivers are aware that we can't just keep restarting races here. So they better behave themselves this time.
Yes. There. So now, hopefully, they will know not to do that, or to be more careful.
Exactly.
All right, so the cars are lined up. I'll go through the grid one more time. Row 1, Ben Paulett and Ole Marius Mervold. Row 2 is Gerard Rion filling in for Greg and Vincent Beretta. Row 3, We have Philippe Martinelli on the inside and Richard Coxon on the outside. Row 4, Pascal Lefebvre in the red car, Yves Poisset in the white car. Row 5, Jose Berenger and Peter Lengel in the gunmetal car this time. And in row 6, at the back, is Mike Becknell in the oil blue car, and because he won round 1, Steve Parker starts last. Let's take a look at the track map really quick. We mentioned the S's being very treacherous. That's the section on the top right of the screen there after the start-finish line. The other portion that's going to cause some issues for people, I think, would be the switchback that leads onto the backstretch. What do you think?
Oh, indeed. It's a very steep bump there, and it's also blind, so the drivers will have to be very careful there, because if someone, for example, if someone half spins and gets across the track there, then there might be drama.
Yeah, absolutely. So this race is 30 laps in length. It's not as long as the oval races, which last, well, they in terms of distance, those races are 100 miles. This one, being on a road course with 30 laps, is 76 miles. So it's a little shorter than the oval rounds. Here they are coming now towards that switchback. And the other thing that's interesting here is there's a big hill right there, which some cars will actually leave the ground when they get to the end of that hill. So it's going to be interesting.
Yes, it's a technical portion because the car gets airborne, gets very light, but the drivers have to brake immediately after, because and they brake on an uphill because there's this very slow corner there, and now they're going down that switchback that we were talking about.
Now they're onto the back stretch, which you can tell by the white and red stripe right in the middle there. Our pace car is taking them down at a pretty slow rate. Hopefully we will have a nice clean start and people won't do anything too silly going through the S's, because if there is a big accident here, we will end up going into a full course yellow type situation. The nice thing about that, though, is if some people get left in the dust during the race, it will give them a chance to catch up, which will keep the competition interesting. So, we're coming through the last turn, and very shortly we will be getting the start. Pace car will pull in. Tense moments here, I would think. There goes the pace car into the pits. So now the field is under the control of Ben Pollitt as they come down towards the start-finish line. Let's see what happens. There it is. The race is underway. And already Gerard Rion's going to the inside, trying to take first place. Wow, side by side going into the S's already. Really exciting racing, but it looks like Ben's going to have the advantage going in. Ooh, man, look at that. Fantastic racing already.
Very brave Ben there, snatching the lead again from Gerard.
Now they're heading up to the, oh goodness, looks like a lot of craziness there, but you know, fantastic. Everybody taking it very easy and good racing, but nobody did anything stupid. A real tribute. Oh, we got a little bit of contact there with Becknell, but it appears that everybody's doing well. Now here they come up to the that switchback. Pollitt is in the lead. Through there. Oh goodness! Don't go over the edge. Oh, Ben. Oh no! 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 Oh, Ben has spun out. But fortunately, it doesn't appear that he has any damage. Look out! He's rejoining in front of. Well, okay. That went pretty well.
Vincent also had problems, and he's rejoining.
Okay, but it looks like Gerard Rion is now in the lead, but Richard is right on the outside there. Going through the final turn, this will complete lap number 1. And for everybody who thought that there would be massive accidents on the first lap, I'm pleased to say that that did not happen. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Richard is not, Gerard Rion's not in the lead. It's actually Ole Marius Mervold that's in front, who is a regular in touring car racing. Is that correct?
Indeed, he makes his appearances usually in our Wednesday touring car races. So I guess this big heavy Camaro is something of a familiar sight for him.
Yeah, it's really unusual. I mean, he talked a lot about how he wasn't used to ovals to start with, which is, he's in good company
Ooh,
there.
Yves there, muscling his way around Gerard, and Richard follows.
Excellent. So there goes Yves around Gerard. Yves in the white car this race, number 1. Yeah, Ole has now basically pulled out a bit of a gap, and now now there's a really close scrap going on between Gerard Rion and Coxon, and then you have Jose Berenger right behind this group. So I think people were thinking the cars would get spread out pretty fast, but these guys are really going at it.
Well, that's what you get when you have 12 of the best.
12 of the best, yes. All of these drivers, just so people realize, they were either the champion in a previous HSO championship, or they were second. Some of them are runners-up, but most of them finished first in their category in a previous HSO championship. Gerard got really loose there coming out of the final turn, and that allowed Berenger to close up. Jose was posting some pretty fast times in practice as well. Oh! He just tapped Gerard in the back there just a tiny bit, but fortunately there was no... and he does have damage there. You can see that the left rear of the car is caved in a little bit.
Yves is now attacking the lead, basically.
Oh, yes,
Yves is after Ole.
Yves is right up there with Mervold. Oh, and Ole runs wide, and Yves takes the lead. Yves has the car hanging way out in the back there, but he's able to get in front. Now they go down the straightaway that has a dip in it through the hill. Cars get airborne. Let's see if Ole can counterattack here.
And meanwhile, Richard is getting close to those two.
Oh, goodness. Yes, we're looking back from Yves' car now, and you got to look there really quickly at how airborne the car's getting that switchback. Ole is not losing too much ground to him, so... Oh, and Richard Coxon now, and now we're looking from the back of Ole's car. Richard is right with him. So yeah, there's a lot of good scraps going on here. Let's take a look further back in the field, see what's going on. Steve Parker, who won the first round at Michigan, he's got a considerable amount of damage in the front of his Camaro, but he's currently trying to fend off Pascal Lefebvre, and he's running in. Steve is running in 6th, Pascal's in 7th.
Oh, Richards is making a move now.
Now he's right in the back of Mervold. He's taking looks.
Trying.
He's trying.
And Jose is getting near him, so I guess he wants to overtake Ole as soon as he can.
Well, if I know Richard, he's not only thinking about getting past Ole, he's thinking also that the longer that he's stuck behind Ole, the more time he's losing to Yves in the front. So it's not just, so if I know him, the way he thinks about races, that's what's probably going through his head. And we know that Richard is famous for his dummies that he deals people. So we may see him pull one of his classic dummy moves in this race. Oh, looking on the inside there with Ole.
Very different lines there.
Yeah, very different lines from the two of them, but oh, Richard coming so close to that wall. It's very easy at this track too, and I think people who've driven Riverside before and other forms of racing will know that if you come off that corner with too much power, you can slap the wall quite easily. Oh no! Oh no! Richard ran into the tires. Oh my goodness, no!
I guess he just tried to cut the corner just a bit too much, and unfortunately, it's the end of his race.
That's so unfortunate. Unbelievable. So, yeah, there it is again. Let me run it back.
Unfortunately, that also caused the retirement of Jose Berenger.
Oh, it's true. Jose ran wide as well. There he is. Yeah, he lost a wheel. So, goodness, that's really, really unfortunate. Yep, rolling tires and all. So, my guess is this may cause a full course yellow. We'll see, because they did both escape out of the race quite quickly. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens when Eves comes around.
Yes, and now Yves and Ole are very secure in their first and second places, but behind them we have a group with Steve Parker, Gerard Rion, Pascal Latifi, and Peter Langlois, and they are all very close and fighting for
Yes,
position.
they are. Oh, Gerard's getting very sideways, and Parker gets alongside and past, trades paint with him just for a second there, but you're right. These four are all running very close together. Coming up to the last corner. Got really great racing with this group, but of course, like you point out, that's what we would expect given the caliber of these drivers. So, let's see. As Place comes through, are we going... No, we are not. Okay. Well, that's good news from a racing point of view. So it appears that Richard and other drivers escaped out quick enough. They weren't stationary long enough for it to be a problem. Oh, now look at this. Rion's having... oh, he went on the grass there for a second, but now we have Lafib. God, Lafib is right on his back bumper, and Lengel is now taking a look on the inside. These three look like they're pretty evenly matched, wouldn't you agree?
I think so, although at this point I wonder if Gerard isn't holding Pascal just a little bit, because
Possibly.
Steve Parker was able to escape. And now Pascal is trying on the outside, that will soon be the inside there. And he's already ahead of Gerard. Gerard tried to cut the corner, but Pascal was already there, and he keeps the position.
Oh, Pascal! Oh, goodness, Pascal he ran a bit wide there. And now he's on the outside, running right with Gerard. Let's see what happens. Well, he's got him on that corner, but of course the next one is a right-hander. No, Gerard can't counterattack there. So the running order right now, we have Yves Place in first, Ole Marius Mervold is in second, Steve Parker is in third, Pascal Lafave is in fourth, Peter Lengel is fifth, Gerard Rion is sixth, Vincent Beretta is seventh, Mike Becknell is running in eighth, Ben Paulett, who started on the pole, is all the way down to ninth, and he is trying to fend off... Did I say... I'm sorry, I was looking at... see, this is the confusing part, is the colors change with these cars. And if you are used to a color from a previous race, then you have to reacquaint yourself with who's in what car. But Paulett is in eighth. Becknell is now... Oh, Becknell just now overtook him. And Paulett's now going back on the inside. This is an excellent battle. Ooh, Mike gets a little squirrely there, which gives the position to Ben, and he's got Philippe Martinelli coming up behind him, and Philippe has got some serious damage on his car.
Yes, he does. These two have been having a duel for some laps now.
Yeah. So now here comes... Uh-oh, Ben ran off the track, and this is a chance for Mike, and he gets by. In his blue...
I do wonder one thing, Jason. I'm sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you, but are you watching live, or do you have some delay?
I might have a delay, actually. Yes, I do. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I am back live now. So here comes Mike through, and Ben is now down to 10th.
Meanwhile, the fight for second is heating up because Steve Parker has caught Ole.
Oh, yes, he has. He's right there with him. Coming down over the hill and into the switchback section. Going through the corner. Oh, very nice. Places the car right underneath Ole. Oh, that was beautifully executed. But now Ole's coming back on the inside.
He'll try on the draft.
Yeah.
It's still a very good maneuver from Steve there. Very clean.
Looking back at Ole. And these guys, they've pulled out quite a gap on the cars behind them. They're running the second, third, and Eves is just gone. Eves has got almost a 12-second lead on this group, so...
Yes, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I could go out on a limb here and almost say that Eves is maybe the best of the best in terms of tin top racing at HSO at the moment. If it's not the best, it's certainly one of the best. So
that would certainly seem to be true if you look at the 2016 results so far. He's won an incredible number of races on Wednesday nights. So, yeah, you could argue that he's probably, you know, of all the drivers in HSO currently, he's probably the one that's in the most trim form. I think that's a very insightful point.
And then in second, we have none other than the one that gave the fight to Eves last year in the Trans Am, Steve Parker.
Yeah.
So.
And those who watched that series will remember that the Trans Am series was divided into two categories: the big, heavy American cars and the European smaller cars. And Parker drove for the AMC Javelin team, so it's no surprise that he knows how to handle these big, heavy cars.
Meanwhile, Ben Paulet is a confirmed retirement.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. So we have Behringer. Oh, goodness, Pascal Lefebvre has spun out. Not sure what happened.
Yes, he's there on the grass.
He's on the
Maybe
grass.
He's stuck.
Possibly. I'm going to run it back here and see what physically happened. Right now, I'm just rolling it back.
He's got big damage in the front, so...
Yeah, he appears to be just stuck for some reason, so not sure what caused that. And he's still there. This is a live shot, and he's still sitting still. So I'm not entirely
Maybe he's contemplating what could have been.
Maybe. But at any rate, so going back to Place, he's out front, and having that car stationary like that makes me wonder if we're going to be going to a full course yellow. It's a possibility. We'll have to watch and see what happens when Place comes around.
Although he's outside, he's out of the track, so
no, he is, but
it
may it depends on the circuit. Some will throw the yellow if the car is on the tarmac, or they'll throw it if it's on the grass or the tarmac. And the only thing that they concern about is that the parameter in that case is that it's...
Now Gerard was overtaken by Vince, who is recovering after his initial spin.
Oh yes, these two are very close together. Vincent in the yellow car ahead of Gerard. And Gerard, as we mentioned, has got a tiny bit of damage on the back quarter, but that's probably not affecting him too bad.
Yes, Gerard has been going backwards during this race, and I wonder if Vincent is able to catch Peter, who is not very far in front.
My guess is he probably will be able to close in. Notice how the dust gets kicked up as you go through the S's. Ooh, Vincent had quite a novel line through there, and that caused Gerard to close in quite rapidly. So maybe he has a chance here to counterattack. We'll see. Oh, Vincent goes really wide, and Gerard now is trying to take advantage on the inside, but of course the next corner is a left-hander. Over the hill. Airborne for a minute. Let's see if he can outbrake Vincent. No, he's going to choose to play it safe right now as they come through the switchback section here, back onto the... Oof. I'm glad that I don't have to do that 30 times in a row. That looks very difficult.
Indeed, it looks almost a gamble there to try to get that all the time right, 30 times, like you said.
Yeah.
Yes, let's not forget that this race is 30 laps. The leader only completed 11 ones, so everybody was maybe a bit too eager to give it all in the beginning.
Possibly.
And now they have other 20 laps still to go.
Yeah, things have settled down to some extent now. As you mentioned, we have 11 laps complete, and Eves has pulled out. Yeah, I guess we didn't go full course yellow. So Eves has pulled out in a really impressive 13-second lead. And Steve, it looks as if he's pulled out a good distance from Ole. Oh, you can just see him barely in the picture there. If I'm looking back from Steve's car, and Ole has got quite a distance to catch up. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, your point that you made earlier, Richard, is extremely extremely astute, because these two, Parker and Place, were both basically fighting tooth and nail in the TA 71 big car class. I believe it was called TA1, and Parker, as I mentioned, was driving the AMC Javelin, and I believe Yves Place was driving a Barracuda. But the championship was essentially between those two, so I'm not surprised in a track like this with these type cars there out front.
Yes, and we could see that they kept it cool in the beginning. Both Yves and Steve didn't run away into the lead or made any big mistake at the beginning, at least, and it's paying off for them now.
Meanwhile, Pascal is still sitting by the side of the course, so I'm kind of at a loss as to what this is all about. He's just sitting there. It's weird, and he's still showing in 10th place behind Ben Paulett, who's retired. But the reason he's still not a DNF is because he's still on the track and still running. So I don't know what to say about that. It's bizarre. Those of you who watched the F1 coverage, I believe, wasn't it also Pascal in his McLaren that was sitting by the side of the road for a bit?
You make a good point.
So maybe there's a
maybe yes.
There's a link there. I don't know. That's just a wild guess. Anyway, so now if you're Ole Marius Mervold and you're basically in a very solid third place, which is to say that you're miles away from Parker and miles in front of Peter Lengel, it becomes a situation of basically, do you pace yourself or do you try to run down Steve?
Well, I guess it all comes down to does he have enough even to try to run down Steve? Because for what I could see, Steve is just faster than Ole. So at this point, I would imagine that Ole is just keeping his third place.
Yeah, and now we're watching from Peter Lengel's view as he's displaying some very good four-wheel drifting technique through the S's, and he can just see Ole in front of him down the straight. So he's got a carrot there to spur him on. We'll see if he can. There he is. He's not too far away. So hopefully, if they close up, we'll have another battle to look at. Meanwhile, maybe.
Yes, because they're running very similar lap times, so we will see if there's an evolution in that. Maybe Peter can catch it. If not, they will stay like this. What I'm surprised is that Vincent hasn't gained any ground on Peter, and in fact he's barely inching away from Gerard at this point.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm trying to remember what car Vincent drove in the TA71 series. I believe it was I believe it was a heavy car.
Oh, when Philippe Martinelli just hit the wall. He hit the wall after the S's.
Man.
It was a big shunt, and yes, and that's a retirement for him. He's damaged his suspension there.
Here's the replay. We caught that just now so we can see what happened. And it's a situation of, oh yeah, he just broke too late, ran into the... Oh man, yeah, so that's it for him, unfortunately.
He was trying to run down Mike, and I guess he took it too far.
So now Mike is in 7th place. So that basically means we have 4 retirements, 9 cars still well, 8 cars still running. 9 if you count Pascal, but we know the story there. So the closest battle on the track, there really isn't a very close battle right now. Everyone's really kind of spread out. At least that's the way it appears.
Yes, I guess now the situation is pretty stationary at this point. Anybody who was into a fight either left his opponent in the dust or they crashed. So at this point, it's all a matter of who can gain ground on who as we approach the middle of this race.
Yeah, I'm going to do a static shot here as we go through the start-finish area, and that will give everybody a good chance to see the distances. That was Place, who just came through now. And here comes, that was Steve Parker just going through for second place.
That said, something happened with Eves because he had a 14-second lead, and now it's just 5.
Goodness. Well, that is true. I don't know how in the world that happened. Maybe he had an off somewhere. He does have damage on the left rear of the car. So perhaps there was some kind of incident that occurred. Anyway, I'm going to try this one more time. Looking at the, as I come down to this section here, there's Eves coming through, and we see Steve Parker in second place, going over the hill. And looking further back, we can see there is Ole in third place. Next, Peter Lengel. Everyone seems to have a pretty similar distance between them. Now there's a little bit of a larger gap from Peter back to Vincent. Now we're looking for Gerard, who, there he is. So yeah, everyone's really spread out at this point. Gerard comes through.
It would not be a surprise if people can still make a mistake on their own. Like we said, the cars are tricky to drive. The track has some really tricky sections also. So whatever happened with Eves can happen again, or can happen with anyone else. Yeah. So anything, this order can still change.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're back with Eves, and the gap between him and Parker is a little less than 6 seconds. So whatever incident transpired that caused Eves to lose that time, apparently it didn't damage the car, at least not to the point where you can't drive it quickly. Coming back to the that hill section again, and you can see there's the difference between him and Parker. This is actually a pretty neat shot here, this static shot by the switchback. You can see cars coming through the S's actually, and getting at the top of the hill and then coming around to come down the next straightaway towards the switchback. There's Peter Lengel coming through, and then we have Vincent Beretta. Well, whatever happened, Eves looks like he's collected himself and is back running at a good clip. The gap is now a solid 6 seconds, but it's not increasing that quickly. It seems to be about the same.
Yes, both Eves and Steve they seem to be able to run under the 130 lap time normally, or very comfortably. So I guess that they have similar paces to a point. So anything that will happen, it will be due to some error or some mistake. But I guess Steve is trying to push Eves at this point, trying to keep the distance as close as he can, so that Eves make a mistake. But let's see if it's not Steve who makes a mistake instead.
Right in on board with Steve now, and you can just see a white dot ahead of him, which is Eves. Eves now braking for a corner, and Steve now at the same corner. So really, it's a situation of, oh goodness! Steve lost the back end there. So he's certainly that's going to cost him a great deal of time right there. But he was at least able to recover.
Yes, you still have the delay.
No, I'm live. When he
Okay,
was
so
coming
maybe it
through
could be.
that corner, he had quite a moment, but he was able to gather it back up again.
Meanwhile, Ole is still in third. Pat doesn't seem to be gaining much ground on him, so it's still fourth. Vincent is fifth, and Gerard is sixth, and Mike is still comfortably running in seventh.
And Pascal is still sitting by the side of the road. I'm not sure what's going
Exactly.
on. I'm really not sure what's going on there. In any case, one thing that we could probably point out too is that it doesn't matter whether you finish the race or not. Everybody does score points. There's no minimum number of laps you have to run. So even if Pascal sits by the side of the road there for the rest of the race, he still will collect a certain number of points. I believe 3 for 10th place.
Maybe he's waiting for the marshals.
Maybe. So with Eves pulling out a comfortable lead, and we don't have too much action on the track at the moment, we can talk maybe for a second about next week, which are the Indianapolis 500 time trials. They are set to start at 2000 hours CET, but we're going to be going on the air a half an hour prior to that, just to set things up and to give everyone an idea of what's going to be happening. And the other reason for that is because I'm going to be qualifying first in the car that's on your screen, the number 1 Parnelli. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of extra lead time to get that out of the way, and then we'll go on with the rest of the time trials. Richard is going to be driving the number 44 Travelodge Eagle, and that one is actually going to be in the second half of the qualifying session. So if you, after the 15-minute break, so if you felt like chiming in on the broadcast, you're more than welcome to. Prior to that, prior to your run.
I believe I will.
Cool.
It's hard to miss the action there. It will sure be tense and interesting.
Yeah, we will have Coxon running the proceedings on the track itself, being sort of the Tom Binford, if you will, the clerk of the course, and he will also be chiming in from time to time. So it'll be an interesting time in the broadcast booth, and everybody will get their 5 minutes of TV time in the Indianapolis time trials. That's next Sunday. Eve's going through the final corner now, and basically everybody is in a situation where, and we have just about 10 laps to go now. So the other thing that we have to consider is tire wear in this race. And you would think that after a while, after going through these corners at such speed, the tires would start to play a role, and those who take better care of the tires would probably do better towards the end. And that plays into your point, Richard, earlier about not going too hard at the beginning. Those people that were really pushing hard early on may be regretting it now.
Yes, this race is a proof that you can't win a race in the first lap. And it sure proves that. Eves was nowhere near the lead in the first lap, and now look at him. So I wouldn't be surprised that Eves and Steve at least are in very good shape to the end of this race. Probably Ole, he was in the front group right from the beginning. He might be in a position that he has to look to his tires a bit more, but still he has more than 7 seconds of an advantage over Peter, so I guess that's enough for him to manage to the end. This speaking about the podium positions at least.
Well, Ole didn't have a very good first race at Michigan. He was involved in a massive shunt with, I believe, Gregoire Goissin and somebody else. I can't remember who at this moment. It might have been Vincent. But at any rate, he was out of the race quite early and didn't score very many points, and that's, of course, why he was starting on the outside of the front row this time. So I'm sure that he's quite happy to be showing his skill level in this round at Riverside.
interesting how Eves goes off course and he even goes up a little the hillside next to the track in those S's to try to keep the most straight line as he can.
That really is what you have to do going through those S's, is you basically have to straighten them out as much as you can. The danger there is that you, in doing that, have to come very close to those half-buried tires. And that is why they are there, to discourage people from straightening it out to the point where they get an unfair advantage.
Yes, I mentioned earlier that Eves is a very good tin-top driver, but well, to use your expression, but he's also, well, let's just say that he also likes to use as much of the track as he can, and even a bit more than that. So I'm not surprised that Eves almost goes through the hills here, trying to straighten those S's as much as he can.
Let's take another look at him doing that. Actually, he's coming up on Mike Becknell now. He's going to put a lap on him, but Eames now going through the S's. Let's take a look at that technique of his. Very, very, yeah, he's straightening it out as much as he can. And you can see how close he comes to those half-buried tires, which unfortunately claimed Richard Coxon earlier. Now Becknell braking for the corner, and Eaves is going to have to get around him here, but I'm quite certain that Mike is not going to cause him any difficulty. There's nothing for him to gain in doing so.
Yes, Mike will get the solid points of 7th here, so I guess he's pretty comfortable cruising around.
And he lets Eaves by. So at this point, we have 8 laps to go. Or actually, when Eaves comes by this time, there will be 7 laps to go. And you mentioned that Eaves likes to run and use as much of the track as possible. That has me thinking about next week for the time trials, how that's going to play, because in a similar sense, you know, in Indianapolis, if you use as much of the track as you can get a really quick lap time. Of course, the more of the track you use, the closer to the wall you get. So it'll be interesting to see if Eaves employs a similar tactic there. Different science entirely, but knowing him, you know, he likes to, as you say, he likes to use a lot of the track. He's going to be driving the number 77 Salt Walther McLaren, which is infamous for becoming an alcohol garden sprinkler at the start of the 73 500 in real life. Hopefully that won't happen with him. Knowing that Eaves is driving, I would think that he would try to extract the maximum from that car, but he's a person who also knows that you know, a race is not won in the first lap.
Oh, he sure is. I remember he finished the 500 last year, so he's no stranger to that.
And that was after a great deal of difficulty, too, I believe. He had some off-course problems and got out of pit sequence with everybody else and was several laps down, and he still finished quite high up the order.
Yes, a very nice performance from him, especially because he kept it on the track to the end. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe some people would quit, but anybody can be rewarded by doing that, because the 500 is also a race of attrition, and there's a lot of points to be gained, or at least a lot of respect points if you finish. So, and let's not forget, Jason, to say that there are still rides available for the Indy, and actually quite competitive ones.
Yeah, there are a few. I mean, one car that I'm really surprised has not been taken yet is the Peter Rebson McLaren. It's still sitting there vacant. And
that's a winning car.
And that is a car that can win. And I'm also surprised there's some other people who've not confirmed yet. Glenn Corliss drives the other car, and he hasn't confirmed his presence yet, which is surprising. Hopefully he does so quickly. But
so let's hope that we have Team McLaren in the race.
Yeah, it would be really bizarre to not have the orange McLarens in a 500-mile race for 73. That would just be strange. But at any rate, Eaves looking very, very cool and collected here, coming around with only 5 laps to go. The closest battle on the track right now, if you can call it one, would be between Peter Lengel and Ole, but Ole's still got a good distance on him. He's got a full straightaway, in fact. So really, this is a situation where I think most people are just content to keep their cars running and not do anything silly.
Or by just sitting in a car like Pascal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out what that's all about. I think Pascal at this point is just sitting in the car, reading the paper or something. I don't know. Maybe he figured it was a nice place to stop and watch the race. Who knows? Steve Parker, we're riding with him now, and he's still... All he really gets treated to is a puff of smoke from Yves's car when it was there prior to his arrival. That's basically the only carrot he has at the moment in front of him.
Yes, Yves stretched his lead from 5 to 8 seconds at the point.
Yeah.
So I guess Steve must know now that he doesn't have the pace to catch Yves in this particular race, in this particular day. But I guess he'll be pretty pleased with second, given that he won the last race.
No, it gives him a commanding lead in the points for sure in the IROC. And the third round in this championship is going to be at Riverside again. And then the final race is going to be at the Daytona International Speedway, which likely will be a slipstreaming war, I would figure. At Michigan,
that will be interesting.
At Michigan, you at least had to lift a little bit going into the corners. At Daytona, you can run with these cars wide open the entire way around. So that will definitely be a situation of people finding dancing partners, at least right up until lap, until the final lap, when then it's every man for himself.
Although, with that said, some people, some of the more road course oriented people here, they might not quite understand what you just said. They might not quite understand the concept of helping each other.
Yves, I believe, made another mistake, and now, yeah, Steve has just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Steve has just caught an amazing amount of distance on him in a very short period of time. So it appears Yves he may have had a slight problem in a corner and the car stepped out. But yeah, Steve now very definitely can see Yves in front of him. So we may have a race on our hands after all.
Well, I guess that will motivate him a bit more. Let's see if Yves doesn't pull away again.
Coming by this time, there will be 3 laps to go. Yeah, the distance is now only 3 seconds. So we need to keep real close eye on this. This could really develop into something at the end here. Yves seems to have the car under control here, going into the final corner. As I said, this time by 3 laps to go. It's a good opportunity here too, riding with Steve, to take a look at how he handles the S's. We saw how Yves handles them, straightening them out really well. And here, yep, Steve takes a very similar approach. He runs a little bit more onto the grass than I think Yves does in that section. But the gap seems to be about the same as it was last lap after Yves had his issue. Could it be a tire-related thing? Is he losing grip?
It is possible. I mean, looking at the lap times, he has been getting a bit slower and slower, although that could be him managing the lead that he had. We will see at the end of this lap.
And there we get to see Pascal's perch. He's actually, if he was picking a place to watch the race, it wasn't the greatest place because he's behind that berm by the switchback, so you can't really see much from there. In any case, So Eves now coming around with 2 laps to go, and we can see Steve behind him.
Who's still drifting around
Oh
that
yes,
corner.
he is. He's definitely got that thing in a 4-wheel drift. We can even see it from here, looking back from Eves' car. 2 laps to go now.
The distance is still 3 seconds.
Yeah, so it didn't change. That's
They probably have some tire wear at this point, indeed, because now they're running around 130, low 130s. So they can't run as fast as they could some 10 laps ago anymore.
All right. So and Eves does look like he's a little bit slower coming through this this right-hander at the hilltop, and now Steve is following him down the hill here.
Meanwhile, they're catching Vincent, who seems to have a problem. He lost 5th position for Gerard, and he seems to have a puncture or something.
Yeah, he's not going quickly, that's for sure. So he's, oh goodness, yeah, the front end of his car is completely caved in. So he is just basically tooling around to the finish.
Maybe so he probably had one off on his own.
No, he does have. No, you're right. He does have the tire is definitely flat on the right front. So, yeah, he's
now in front of Steve, and Steve won't like that.
Well, Steve's going to go around the outside here, which is actually probably where he's been on most of his trips around there. So now we're going into the final lap. Yeah.
The gap is still more or less the same, so I guess Steve will have maybe a smell of victory, but not the real thing here.
Not the real thing, but and Vincent continues around. Actually, Steve didn't lose any time having to negotiate the derelict car of Beretta, because the gap is 2.8 seconds, so it's about the same. But of course, at this point, unless Eves does something really drastically wrong, I think we can probably say that he's got this one locked up. But we'll see. Coming into this switchback, which is the most difficult corner on the circuit. Smooth. No issues. So now he only has one corner to go, and he'll take the win in the round 2 of the International Race of Champions. Very good performance by Eves, and even though he apparently had some issues throughout, he was able to rebound from them, and he didn't get flustered, which some other drivers might have done. Coming through the final corner here.
Steve again drifting. That's wonderful to see.
And Eves comes to the line, and there's the win.
Steve crosses in second. The difference 2.3 seconds at the end.
2.3 seconds in the end. Now Ole, he's on the backstretch right now, and he's going to, assuming that he's takes the last corner with no issue, he's going to finish in third, and that's an excellent result for him. He's backed right off, so he probably is aware that he's got a decent enough gap between him and Peter Lengel, who's now coming through the switchback section. Oh, goodness! Peter Lengel has got a problem of his own. He's got...
he's got also a car sparking around.
Yeah, his left front is completely caved in. So he's just basically trying to get that thing, sparks flying, wheel locking up. He's just trying to get... Oh, there's sparks in the cockpit, too.
Yes, he's trying to get away from Gerard and cross the line before Gerard catches him.
Well, let's see. Is he anywhere near close to him? No, it appears that Gerard's too far back. So Peter's going to finish the race in 4th place. Gerard is now coming through the final corner, and he will take 5th. And Vincent Beretta, who has his own issues, my guess is he's... still, actually, he's spun out right now. Oh, no, he's already finished because he was a lap down. That's right. So
yes, everyone crossed the line except Pascal.
Everyone's crossed the line except for Pascal. Mike is trying to get his attention. He's saying, "Wake up! Wake up!"
It seems so. Well, we do wonder what happened.
Yeah,
But
that's
I guess
really odd.
this is a great this is a great result for Steve, who gets a big boost in points and leads this championship now comfortably.
Yeah, it's true. Really, really excellent result for him. And as we mentioned, the next round is going to be Riverside once again, and that's not going to be for a while. Next week, of course, we are going to have the Indianapolis 500 time trials. Quick reminder for everybody, so tune in for that. I will be doing the play-by-play. We're going to start a half an hour prior to the actual event time that's on the screen there, 2000 hours. We're going to start at like 1:30 my time, but it'll be 7:30 p.m. Paris time. So that was round 2 of the International Race of Champions. Richard, thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you very much, Jason. It was a pleasure as always.
And I'd like to thank especially Gerard Riant for stepping in at the very last minute to make it a full grid for this race. And hope you enjoyed our coverage. We'll see you next week for the Indy Time Trials. So long, everybody, from Riverside.
See you all there.